is Mr. Shaun. He's the Investor and Chief Business Officer of Technosphere. And his talk is going to be specifically focused on how to improve the industrial product efficiency. Shaun?
Good afternoon. So, perfect segue from where my previous speaker, Akulur, he left. I'm going to talk about how do you actually kickstart some of these projects. And I'm also going to focus on production efficiency, what Sandeep here talked about, the production efficiency, especially in industrial IoT. So my presentation has three parts. The first is about what trends we are seeing on the industry. And my personal background is more on the customer acquisition, customer adoption of some of these IoT technologies. So I'm going to share how that's playing out. And then look at 2 or 3 simple case studies, simple use cases that we have used in the Indian industry, manufacturing companies. And then if you are a startup or an enterprise IoT rollout person, how do you kickstart some of these projects and then from pilots to scale? So 3 broad categories. Now, fundamentally, this is what we believe, and I strongly believe that IoT is, now that the physical world is becoming part of the digital world. So Michael Porter, from Harvard, he talks about 3 different waves in IT. The first wave was when we automated using EDP all of our accounting inside the office. So that was in 70s, early 80s maybe. Then the next wave was when, as companies, we connected with our customers and also with our suppliers. So 90s, SAP, Ariba, Oracle, all of that was the second wave of IT. And he says the third wave, which is IoT, is going to be even bigger than the first and second waves, and there will be a lot of new companies that will get created. So, and this is going to pan out over the next 10 to 12 years. And as per McKinsey, if you look at the value chain of IoT, 10% is on the hardware gateway side, 50 to 60%, 55% is actually on the analytics side. Systems integration, people who put it all together is about, I think, 10 or 15%, and 10% is on the cloud infrastructure. I hope it added up to 100%. So that's sort of the breakup. Okay? So from an industrial IoT adoption, where do we stand today? I've got the backdrop of a storm. So we believe that in the IoT industry, all of a sudden over the last couple of years, we are hearing a lot about IoT is because there is a perfect storm in the industry. We have seen the prices of hardware coming down. You have now got access to unlimited data through cloud. And then you also have connectivity through wireless or mobile, pretty ubiquitous everywhere. So these 3 forces are really leading to acceleration of IoT. Now, from an industrial IoT standpoint, I would say 3 or 4 years back, we had heard a lot about industrial IoT platforms, and we still, there are a lot of companies that they are taking that sort of approach. Now, I'm with Technosphere, and what we have looked at when we started meeting a lot of customers, a lot of them in India, of course in the US also, a lot of times we found it very difficult to justify the ROI and the business case to roll out a large IoT platform. However, on the other hand, the industry was crying for a lot of help for specific, simple use cases. Use cases like, hey, this machine, if it goes down, then my whole production stops and we lose X dollars or X rupees. Can you do some predictive maintenance? Or I have a pellet mill and it goes downstream and jams the whole production, so I have to stop it. So those are the type of examples we are seeing. Now, so we have taken a slightly different approach. So we have taken more of a bottom-up approach where we look at use cases of our customers, try to understand them, try to use IoT technology and solve and generate a quick ROI on those. Now, before I go to this, From an IoT perspective, there are broadly 3 areas. So every IoT project or every IoT initiative only has 3 things that it wants to achieve. Either you are trying to improve the asset utilization. The asset could be, a turbine, or it could be a car, or it could be a fleet or whatever. Or you are trying to offer a new differentiated service or a product, like a smart product, smart TV, whatever. Or the third option could be you're trying to transform the customer engagement. So you were selling a product, now can you offer it as a pay-as-you-go service? So you have transformed your customer engagement. Insurance industry, again, where you are now seeing usage-based insurance. So it's a very differentiated business model. So pretty much all IoT initiatives will fall in these 3 different categories. When you go to industrial IoT, so the first one, even though we're talking asset tracking, it's really asset management. So it does include the maintenance. Now these are the only, again, 4 broad categories where most of the industrial IoT projects will fall. So, asset tracking, lifecycle management, that pretty much asset management. Machine productivity monitoring. So we are seeing a lot of requests for this that, hey, I have a small factory or I have a medium-sized factory and there are 40 machines in my factory. They're all calibrated for different levels of productivity. These are different machines. But I really don't know. I know the end of the day factory output, but I really don't know which machine has operated at its calibrated level and were there any variations during the day. Okay? Now, can you use sensor technology to give me that sort of insight, because that can throw up a lot of interesting interventions that the management can take. Ongoing quality management, you can do a good job there. Worker safety and productivity. So we are seeing a lot of interest pretty much all over, of course, India and Western world also, for employee safety. Wearables, pendant, other things. How can you use? So I'll just share some simple examples from this and how we have approached this. So what we did was, so we were more of a services company moving more and more towards solutions, right? And we started interacting with customers, and every time you go to a customer, there is a very different use case. So you might say maintenance or predictive maintenance, preventive maintenance, whatever, but the machines are different, the environment conditions are different, same industry, different machines, a lot of different variables. So what we did was, we took a Lego block approach. So we looked at the whole industrial, IoT value chain. So you can see you have on one side all the various sensors, different types of sensors, then different types of communication technologies, protocols, input-out interfaces, and finally to the cloud. Okay, and I've kept it at the cloud level. I have not really taken it to the analytics level and everything. Okay, so we looked at this value chain, and we designed a whole Lego block sort of an approach where we are able to deliver within 6 weeks a live industrial grade project deployed at the customer site. So we have all these pieces. These are all industrial grade. We have designed for all different combinations, different form factors, different enclosures for different industries. So if a customer says, hey, I'm a chemical factory, I'm looking for this type of solution, within 6 weeks we are able to deploy 10, 20 units, but these are industrial grade, so if they want to scale, they can actually take it to 1,000, 10,000, whatever they want. Sometimes when they are scaling, we might want to optimize the device further. Okay. So this is the product that we have. This is one of the form factors, the most prevalent one, and we have all the various modules for different protocols, different data inputs. Some of the sensors we have already included inside, especially for industrial, etc. And now what we are doing is we are taking the use cases, and again, on the software side, we do have all the stacks to integrate with Azure, Bluemix, and AWS. So if our customer is a Microsoft shop, we give them the Azure solution. So we have basically taken the whole IoT value chain and come up with this Lego block approach for quick live industrial grade pilots. Different types of inputs that can come. Either you can design the maintenance around vibration, or it could be a sound, difference in sound. Okay, a lot of ultrasound technology you can use. In some cases, it could be temperature beyond a certain parameter. Okay? So we are approaching it more with simple use cases. I am able to generate ROI very quickly. Customer is happy, and then if they are happy with one site, then they can scale it up into other factories, other machines. Need from the industry is employee safety. Different companies are approaching us with different types of safety needs, chemical hazards, physical or biological, whatever. Again, for a fairly large brand name, we have done a complete industrial watch that does all the vitals as well as uses accelerometer to see if there is a sudden fall of an operator. And we are using LoRa technology, so it also, through triangulation, we can tell exactly where it happened. So these are a lot of the simple examples that we are seeing, and I think it's still early days. These are platforms. When I say a variable, to me, it's more like a platform, and you can keep adding more and more features to it and make it more rich. Okay? And so far, I have not gone into the whole analytics side. A lot of what we believe is, when a lot of the platforms, they will start competing with the AWS of the world, Azure, and IBM, because they're also coming. And in today's, so I'm more on the software side. That's where I come from. With the democratization of IT, one of the big changes also that is happening. So I talked about the other three, the perfect storm. But the other big piece is the whole API economy. Okay? So earlier, when you have to give a solution for a hospital or a hotel, you would design the whole thing and go and go through a long sales cycle, top-down approach, right? In the API economy, everything is finally going to the cloud, and everything you can connect through API. So one is taking a big platform approach and going through that whole top-down approach. We are taking more of a bottoms-up approach because use case 1 is in the cloud, use case 2 is in the cloud, everything is finally on the cloud. Okay, and you can connect, and whether it's Microsoft or AWS, I mean, they give you enough capability where you can start doing a lot of analytics. And again, you can align it with the customer adoption, because a lot of companies today, let's say, they are more in the preventive maintenance mode. Hopefully, or unless it's a very critical equipment like a plane or something, you'll go into predictive maintenance. But gradually, we'll move in that direction. So this is just to summarize, from a learning standpoint, whether you are a startup in the IoT space or an industrial IoT enterprise customer who is looking at how do I kickstart some of these projects. These are the key learnings. So we believe you can start a lot of these things at a use case level because it's easy to justify business case. The ROIs are very clear and easy. Okay? But define, make sure you have a very defined business case. Initiate an end-to-end pilot project with live data. So do not spend too much effort with smaller POCs on Raspberry Pi, Arduino, etc. We believe that you should do a pilot with live data, and today there are a lot of these type of things which are available, and the whole stack on cloud which is available for you to do these things. Okay? And once you have proven it to the the plant and the management, etc. You should collect the data for 2 or 3 months. Then you can see the power of the data because now you have enough data to do other things, and then you can decide on the larger rollout. And at that stage is when you can involve other stakeholders from IT department and others. Okay? So a lot of times we have seen a lot of these simple use cases, the sales cycles are faster, and usually IT is like, okay, yeah, we'll just involve the IT a little bit. Okay? So it's not. But when you take a platform approach, it's a very, very different customer adoption cycle. All of a sudden it's more IT's center, and then they will invite all the biggies. Hey, everybody has got a platform, so it's a very different approach. Okay? And then once you have rolled it out, or once you have done the data for 2 or 3 months, and depending on what the use case is, you can further optimize the device based on the ground finding. So you're doing a 10 units or 20, 50 units, it's okay. There are still some efficiency that you can gain. But if you are now taking it to thousands of devices to be rolled out in all over your factories or machines, so every bit of optimization will help. So this is just a summary of some of the projects that my previous speaker mentioned, and we all, our experience with all these industrial customers have been there's just plethora of different types of use cases they throw at us. So we said, okay, fine, we'll just take a very Lego block sort of an approach, do a pilot, prove it within 5 to 6 weeks, a live pilot. It's an industrial grade stuff, not commercial and all that. And then from there, scale the project. And at scaling, then You should have some data. You will see the business case and all of that. That brings to my end.
So thank you, Shaun. This is a kind of a perfect cheat sheet for industrial IoT projects for all the startups. So, Executive Council member of ISA to come in and hand over a token of appreciation.